Hi, I'm Naima Latif with a Media Connection News Brief. We're here at Stateville Correctional Facility, and we have a number of supporters that are asking for better conditions for those who are inmates. And we will meet the warden. And of course, State Representative LaShawn is leading this effort when it comes to getting us better conditions.
I believe so. How long was he there? I know the Sacred Foundation. I don't know if I know Mr. Law.
And we're here with the warden now. And we're hoping that there will be an opportunity to improve conditions. Well, thank you, warden. Hi, I'm Naima Latif. And I'm with the Media Connection TV show, and we're, of course, with all of those who are supporting better conditions for the inmates. Now, as a warden, what, I guess, powers do you have to change or enforce things? Are you able to set policy at all?
Well, policy is normally set through Springfield, but if it's some issues that is particularly just my facility, I do have some input, and I can run it up my chain of command and see if I can get some things changed if necessary.
Well, what are your thoughts about changing the whole dynamics of what the prison stands for? Going from punishment to what its original intent was, which was reform, restoration, healing.
And that's the direction that the department is trying to go in now.
Well, that is wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Now, is that something that Springfield has to enact, or is that something that you can
No, this is
actually
currently
do?
being done right now. So programming and stuff, we've always tried to implement different programs to make the facility better and to try to help our offender population. So we have over 900 some volunteers here, and also we have college programs. So we do a lot here at Stateville Correctional Center.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah, a lot of times people just don't know what all we do because most of the time you only hear about the negative stuff. But it's so many positive things that we are actually doing to try to better the lives of our offender population.
How many inmates do you have here?
Right now we have about 1,200 on this side, and we have another approximately 1,500 on the other side, NRC side. And NRC is also made up of MSU also. So it's what they used to call the farm. We have that outside too.
Yes. So in your, 27 years you've been here?
27 years. I haven't just been here, but I've been with the department 27 years.
Okay. What changes have you personally seen in terms of improvement?
Well, when it comes to education and different stuff like that, that's been huge, and it's made a big difference when it comes to the department. So when it comes to education and different stuff like that, that's been the biggest change that I've seen since I've been here. So they got a lot of degree programs.
You want to turn the picture into HBCU?
But the numbers are so up, so the recidivism is on the rise, so it can't be.
I don't know because I don't have the numbers. Mr. Hardy, she's asking about the numbers when it comes to recidivism.
So recidivism rate.
And this is Mr. Hardy. He's from the governor's office.
No, not the governor's office. Director's office.
Director's office.
Director's
So a couple things here. Some changes that I shared with Representative Ford. Number one, the recidivism rate. 3 years ago, 2013, 12, 13, it was about right around 48%. We just measured the recidivism rate for the last 3 years, and it's down to 39%.
So face the greenery. Everybody just want to go face the greenery. So it's
The numbers are up here. Maybe
and then
not
the
necessarily
director's going to
repeat
speak
offenders,
to
just offenders.
Well, I think what you're seeing is two things. Number one, you're seeing an attempt at the county level to address smaller county level. And that impacts us because if you're addressing at the local level, there's not as many coming to the state level. And so while we have them, we are working through all the various areas that we need to address criminal behavior, some of which are mental illness, some of which are education, and other programming to help those when they get out to do a better job of being able to sustain being out there. We could speculate on a lot of root causes, but I think the bottom line is our job is to determine how to treat them when they get here and to return them to useful citizenship.
Just the demographic alone has to say something about why the majority there are unsafe. Somebody should be doing a study on it. That should be.
I agree, and we work with several different universities and research studies to try to figure out some things that will help us better center our efforts on offender rehabilitation. And so if demographics happens to be a part of that, then we can address that. We're constantly undergoing evaluation, both internally and externally, to find out what's working, what isn't working, so we can get better at doing what we do.
All right. And one last question. In terms of the treatment for drug addiction and so forth, because so many crimes are connected to that, what type of programs are available and what's in place now, and how much have you seen it working?
Quite a bit, actually. The two cornerstone facilities that we have for substance abuse are Southwestern and Sheridan Correctional Centers. And we know from data that the recidivism rate
Texas, all the way from
for
Texas.
appropriate intervention
You didn't really just
for drug abuse at those facilities is about 15 to 20% lower. The recidivism rate is about 15 to 20% lower at those facilities when you address the substance abuse issue than it is wide. So we know that there's a correlation between good intervention and the recidivism rate. And we do have those programs available in other facilities, just not clearly dedicated to those facilities.
Can you give us your name again? Yes.
Mark Sardi,
Martin, and your name and your title again?
Executive Assistant to the Director.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Yes. Well, this is certainly encouraging to hear. And again, we're live at Stateville Penitentiary, the prison facilities here in Joliet. And unfortunately, there are many who are inside, and we're looking forward to seeing a manifestation of the improvement. And we also want to make sure that if you have people in the penitentiary, that they receive your regular care and love. And
never lost for word.
and we've got State Representative LaShawn Ford here that's organizing this effort.
Facilities to help restore people to their homes. Because everybody was born pure. They were criminals. Something in the society created the criminal element, and that needs to be rooted out of the home.
All right. What's that?
Excellent.
It's all going on.
Yes.
Really have
What does that look like, full citizenship? Randy's going to say that.
everything that is just a citizen privileges.
That's the fact that the important does not have access to state chamber. So he is completely and totally dependent upon information he received from this facility, which is really like this. So we have to make sure that we are sending these brothers to places that actually exist and the services that actually exist.
So
The warden's going to speak to us all now.
Don't raise them up high. Don't raise them up high.
And Warden, could you give us your name again? And Warden, could you give your name again? Walter Nicholson. Thank you so much.
So we director and warden.
Not long as you're not in prison.
So
Don't forget to remember your July 3rd Independence Day.
okay. So how do we make sure that the warden is able to speak and be seen? Is that possible?
Well,
The warden is
where's
going
the
to speak
warden?
and the director and warden.
He can stand. Well, he don't want to stand in front of that, right?
Right.
Well, if you don't
Okay,
want,
yeah, speak right in. Yeah.
do you
Let's
not
stand
want to
together.
stand there? You want to?
Let's talk how we're going to so we can figure out what we're going to do.
So could you give us your name and organization and what's driven you to come out here today?
Reading Fellows, National Black Agenda Consortium, and Books Overall, Violence Prevention Program. I'm here today supporting State Representative LaShawn Ford in terms of giving training back into the prisons, and I'm working diligently in the community so when they come home, they can join our program with skills. And all I'm saying is we should boycott the prisons, just don't go.
All right, there we go. Boycott prisons, just don't go.
Photos are okay for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get that out the way first.
So you can.
Hold on one second.
And once again, we are live at
Okay, I need y'all to back up
Stateville
this way. Back up,
Prison.
back up that way.
And this correctional center, as we've heard, needs a bit of correction. We want to increase the services and assist those who need spiritual, physical, emotional healing to come out better than they went in.
So first, we're going to hear from the...
Wait, I ain't got you running yet.
So we're going to hear from State Representative LaShawn for...
I want to say, I'm running fast.
No, you for the run in 5, 4, 3, 2. Give me a test.
All right, testing.
You're good.
All right, so we are happy to be here at Stateville Prison under the conditions of people being locked up. Our goal is to make sure that we come here to fight for better conditions for the prisoners so that when they return to the city of Chicago, they're reformed and they're ready to go to work. We don't believe that people should always have a life sentence, or should anyone have a life sentence when they are released from prison. And so our goal is to make sure that we have a relationship with the prisons, not just Stateville where we're at today, but this kicks off an opportunity for us to build a foundation so that we can help people that's locked up. We know that many people in here have family members that feel the pain of their loved ones because of sometimes they talk about the conditions. And so we want to make sure that you understand from Director Hardy and the warden, Nicholson, that we're going to build a partnership with the prison systems to do everything that we can to bring more money to make sure that when people return to our communities that they're ready to reintegrate in the communities. And before that, we have State Rep Lamont Robinson.
Glad to be here today. Again, we want to make sure that we're supporting folks across the state of Illinois to make sure that we're investing in our communities for folks not to be able to get into the system. But if they are in the system, we need to make sure that we support them. We're supporting them in education, we're supporting them in the trades, and we're supporting them in the event that they, again, do get into the crosshairs of the system, that when they get out, that there's support for them. So we're here today to make sure that understand what the issues are for the folks that are inside, but then also from the warden and the folks that are working in this system to make sure that we're doing right by the folks that are in the system. So thank you very, very much.
And so I think the director will introduce the warden, Director Hardy. You want to speak to the people too, right?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you to Representative Ford, Lamont, and the families for being here. We invite partnership, and we're thankful that partnership exists so that we can all work to invest in the proper resolution of returning our criminals to useful citizenship. And so the department has been engaged and will continue to be engaged at a level that allows us to focus on offender-centered rehabilitation, proper resource alignment, and cultural transformation to help address what happens inside the prison so that we can work collectively together to produce a better outcome for those who are returning from the prison. And so we're excited about the opportunity to partner, sit down at the table and talk about what's needed, what's going to work, and what we can all do to make sure that that transition is successful.
Awesome.
Right. And I'd like to take time out. I'm Warden Walton Nicholson. I'd like to take time out just to thank everybody here. I see we got some young ones out here also. So I just want to take time out to thank everybody for coming out. We don't have the best conditions out here today. But I just want you guys to know that your issues is my issues also, and hopefully we can get everything addressed. Okay?
So let's go right to someone that Randy Reiner. I mean, he's done some. Sorry, buddy, you can talk.
Prison sentence should not be a life sentence. At some point, most of these prisoners are going to return home. To what? They need resources. I just helped a young brother a few days ago who was released 31 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. but they release him with no resources, none. He's homeless. If it had not been for a group of us who banded together to get that brother assistance, we might have another recidivist. You understand what I'm saying? What drives recidivism is poverty. It is not the individual moral compass. It is poverty and lack of resources and lack of opportunity. At some point, we must all say that if we truly do believe, as we go to church every Sunday talking about redemption, but at what point do we, the concerned citizens, going to be redeemed from the punishment that they were meted out? We don't need more punishment. We need more assistance.
That's right. Yeah.
Basic necessities such as housing, clothing, and food are not privileges, those are rights.
That's right.
And we need to talk about that, and the African American community and legislators need to be out front. The Democratic Party, we must hold them accountable for the fact that we support them 97% every election cycle, but they've not done anything legislatively for the African American community since affirmative action, which benefited primarily white females. Did not do anything for the right of the African Americans in the United States. I have written a pathway to citizenship, and I am asking if you support this pathway to citizenship. I've got a 4-step process by which you can get your record forever sealed. Thankfully, I have a sponsor, Brother LaShawn Ford, who has always been out front of the ex-felon.
Always. That's why we here.
He was not popular. See, when he was out there by himself. Now everybody on the bandwagon. Now, let's just do this here. Let's say that this is what we need to be talking about. Number one, the role we must reap is his or her board orders, and in its role successfully. You must have a GED or high school diploma. You must be working, actively seeking work or involved in a college or vocational program. And next, you must stay free of felony convictions for 1, 3, 5, or 7 years. And the severity of this crime. And if those conditions are met, then he or she should have their record forever sealed, where they can go in to a place of employment on equal footing with everybody else. Absolutely. With that, I'm gonna yield because I know I can talk all day.
Yes, I know.
And we have Brother Tyrone Muhammad. We're gonna make sure that we stick to the people that's in here that we care about and how we have to do everything to get them ready to come back to our communities as well. And if you have any personal experiences, that's perfect. Thank you. And watch him. He's like,
thank you, Representative Ford. Listen, he's nicer than me. I don't have to be politically correct. I don't play the politics when it comes to our sons in this place back here. Yeah. After serving 21 years of prison myself and coming home to nothing. And while in prison, I decided that I knew that the state was not going to do anything for us, the city wasn't going to do anything for us, nor was the prison system going to do anything for us. So we decided we was going to create our own organization that would then allow us as men to link up and form our own lobby. No different than LGBTQ, the PETA, and dogs and fur have more rights than the men back there. These are human beings. When they come home, my whole concern was, how is it that you have enough money to house our bodies in this place?
Come on.
But when we return, that same funding that you use $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to house our bodies, it's never there for us when we return home to receive equal housing, economic opportunity. I don't understand that. You can't tell me that the same money to house our body is not available to assist us when we're free. I don't have time to play these political games. I've been in front of directors. I've been in front of wardens for 21 years. And never do that translate to anything. Even as a formerly incarcerated individual who serves society, who helped to prevent violence and helped to stop our sons from coming in this place, I myself, my little brother is Earl Faber. He's in there right now doing 85 years in state jail. I can't even visit my own brother.
Come on.
And my brother has written the warden. I'm not saying the warden even got his information. I thank the warden for the opportunity now to be able to make this place family friendly, where we're able to reach back. How was it that I'm able to write my brother back and forth from prison to prison? But when I return home as a free citizen, I can't even come back in there to visit my brother.
Wow.
So you know who I am. For 21 years, the system know who I am, or was, and then I'm unable to even visit my little brother. That is disrespectful. That's
inhumane.
That's inhumane, and everything else you want to put, Monica, you want to put on. So all I'm saying is that my goal is to shut this place down. I know some men are not coming out of there. But in the interim of that, let's make sure our brothers and sons get the proper education, and when they do return, have organizations such as ours that they're able to return to and then able to give back to society. That's what we're trying to do. You can't continue to hold us accountable for a crime we serve, for a punishment that we serve, and then when we return to society, continue to keep that moniker X on us. So we're ready to move forward, and with state rep, I'm going to just tell you this. It's time for new leadership, and state representative Ford will help us get that.
Mental health.
State your name, please.
Good morning, Ronald, R-O-N-A-L-D, Jackson, J-A-C-K-S-O-N. We are down here at Stateville Prison because there is a problem and a lack of funding in the seriousness of mental health. We send people down here, and the Department of Corrections has never corrected anything in the years that it has been created. And maybe that's because of the lack of actually hitting the funding where it should be. There's no mental health services down here. Psychotropic medication is not the answer. Absolutely. And we cannot continue to believe that somebody else is going to solve the problems that we send. When the city of Chicago closed mental health clinics, when they still have 5 clinics that they will not promote because the idea is that there will be an overrun, we are seeing that overrun in both jails and prisons. Yes. We cannot continue to believe that. We are the taxpayers. We are the people that fund this. Yes. We cannot continue to send them down here to southern counties for them to get funding for our people just being housed in incarceration. Incarceration is not at all any kind of method for serving those people. And the idea that once they leave, they come back even worse than what they left. That's the problem.
That's the problem right there.
They come back worse than they left. And when it comes down to it, the city of Chicago closed 6 public mental health clinics to save supposedly $2.5 million. And now here it is, we have more people behind bars, and we can actually show you where statistically a lot of those people that were once served in those clinics have ended up down here or either in other institutions. We cannot continue institutionalizing our mental health issues. We cannot continue to send them down here to be victims of a system called incarceration. Correction. When there is no correction.
That's right.
We absolutely demand the public mental health networking is created. And that's the reason why we stand here with Representative Ford, the representative of the 2nd District, and these other individuals, because we know that healthcare is a human right. And we must make sure that those people that are at the bottom are cared for. we will not be silent anymore. That's right. Thank you.
Amen.
Say your name and spell it, please.
Justina Winfrey, Justinal Winfrey, Winfrey. I'm here today to stand in solidarity with not only the community, and even though we're outside of the prison walls right now, Edwin Davila is a part of the group of incarcerated victims currently, innocentdemandjustice.com. And I'm here representing that committee in order to bring justice to not only the folks who are currently behind bars, but to those who are also wrongfully incarcerated, who have long sentences currently and they didn't commit those murders. So not only are we addressing the issues of people who are currently incarcerated, our brothers and sisters, our cousins, our family members who we love and care about, that we can't connect with, but we're addressing the inhumane conditions that they deal with right now. And as the sister stated that there was a young man who's not being given a hearing aid. Well, we have multiple people throughout Illinois, not just at Stateville, but also at Menard, where they are not receiving the proper care for their health conditions, whether it be high blood pressure, which ultimately would lead to a heart attack or a stroke. Well, they're not being treated for basic conditions like that, okay? And ultimately, long term, their health is being impacted. And these guys are not that old. These guys are in their 30s, early 40s, but they've been incarcerated for murders that they didn't commit. So now as we address the brothers who are currently in Stateville, these conditions have to be corrected. Our tax dollars provide the salaries for everyone who works in there. Let's be clear. Cook County Jail should not treat the inmates the way that it ultimately treats the inmates, because those are our people and that's our money, okay? We have to demand better conditions. Next time, the next location, we need Cook County Jail. We want to see everyone out because all of you all have an incarcerated family member. And let's be clear, 1/3 of the Illinois Department of Corrections budget comes from the west side of Chicago, the Austin community. Yes. Change now.
State your name and phone and spell it for me, please.
Hello, my name is Anthony Driver. It's ANTHONYDRIVER. And I'm here today to stand in solidarity with everyone here, all of the inmates that are behind me in this prison. But one thing I would like to shed a light on is that this behind me is a prison. Our neighborhoods are also prisons. Yes. Our school system is also a prison. From birth, as a 25-year-old, I know more people in here than who have went to college.
Come on.
There's been a lack of investment, a lack of opportunity in our neighborhood, and there's we need better living conditions for the inmates that are in Stateville prison. I spent the early part of my childhood driving and traveling back and forth here to Stateville to visit people. There's over 100 people in my family. I'm the only male in my family to have an opportunity to go to college and graduate. I'm the only man in my family to have an opportunity to travel outside the country. And that's by design. It's not because I'm special, it's not because I'm better than anybody else. It's because we live in a society that breeds this type of environment, that fosters this type of environment, that puts people behind prisons and behind walls and spends $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to incarcerate them every year, when most of them belong in a mental health institution. Most of them need help, most of them need resources. So our playgrounds, our schools, our communities are breeding grounds that put people into a larger prison. When from birth, by the time we're born, we're already born in a prison environment. So I'm here today to say that I stand in solidarity with these inmates. I'm only 2 steps away, maybe 1 step away from being them. You don't always you're not always born in a position where you do a crime to get inside this place. Right. A lot of times you're just trying to survive. A lot of times you commit crimes of survival. And the last thing that I would like to say is that I would like to shed a light on the fact that Jason Van Dyke is on trial right now, and it is my hope and my prayer that this is where he ends up.
That's right.
Amen. You say every time.
Did you hear that?
She couldn't even say it.
Name and spell it.
My name is George Salter, S-A-L-T-E-R. I'm with Westside Health Care, and we are here in solidarity and support of everyone that is here. The best way for me to explain it
is when we have the opportunity to go inside and talk and have relationship and deal with needs. That's what we need more of here, because there's a community on the outside of the gate that have loved ones and those that they care about on the other side of the gate. It was just 6 months ago I was speaking to a man at a summit here. We were blessed to have him walk into our office yesterday. And he said, hey, because of the relationship on the inside, I'm coming home to the outside. And I need. And we're part of the solution that deals with the need. But we need you to continue to walk with us and help us have access. So the things that they need, they get, so we have a community that is better when they come home. Amen?
Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Delila Johnson.
Spell your name for me, please.
D is in Dave, A is in Apple, Lila Johnson. I have a compassion for these young people here. I had a son who was incarcerated, he was overseas, and he was tortured. However, the system has been on my mind quite some time, how corrupt it is and how biased it is. You cannot tell me that educating these boys and young people, women, it's less expensive. It is less expensive than incarceration. And 80 years and 10 years and 50 years in a cage does not teach a person anything. How to adapt to being an animal. It's how they come out, it's how they go back, repeat the thing. Prison, it can be work. It was right. Correction, not corruption. Rehabilitation and transformation. It's all young people need. It's all they need. And I'm quite sure that those people commit crimes. Now them commit heinous crimes. They go home for dinner.
And then we're going to need somebody to send a strong message. I'm not that good at being a rally speaker, but we need to send a message that we're here for the prisoners so that they can feel the love. So whoever's going to do that, be ready.
Exactly. Good afternoon. I'm Zerlina Smith. I am a resident of the West Side Chicago, the Austin community.
Stop, Zerlina. You got to spell your name.
Okay, Zerlina. Zerlina Smith. Zerlina Smith. I'm an Austin of the West Side. Well, resident of Austin community on the west side of Chicago. When you think about why we're here today, we're not here because we want to come here to visit our loved ones. We are here because we have to be here. We're here because the restorative system to justice back into the Austin community is 98%. When you have 98% of the population coming back home to a community with no economic development, disinvestment, resources that are the bare minimum, where we don't even have housing. We have no system that's in play for our loved ones to come home to. When you look behind me, don't look at it and think it's a pretty picture. This is the house of pain, and we live in a hostage mentality already in the Austin community. So when you close your eyes, wake up and look at the vision of what you see behind me, and then lay back down and walk outside your door and see if it's the vision of what you want it to be. We have children out here. We're doing civic education, boots on the ground right now, so our children can walk these streets and walk these halls to go back to their community to be the next leaders of the generation for their community. Because if we don't teach now at an early age, we'll have these 20-year stories of an unjust system with people being falsely accused and arrested and charged with bail money that they don't have. We have people that's in prison for $100,000 bonds, and we have people that's in prison with $100 bond that can't get bonded out because there's no justice when it comes to being black, any person of color. There's an X on your back coming home. You can't get a good paying job. Your children will be on the pipeline to prison with the education system. It's a grave to the prison. When you think of what you want to see, think of this prison behind you, and remember that our children and our loved ones do matter. And get out here and get on the bus and do these tours and be engaged and get involved.
Amen. So anyone else? Yeah. All right. So I think that there are like 4 million individuals that's incarcerated come and go in the system, and 2 million come straight from Chicago. And so now you want to know why we have so much violence in the city of Chicago. I used to teach. And so when you think about teaching, I think about the work that you guys have to do here. You can only do so much with what you have. So we're not here to fight with you. We're here to tell you that we want to work with you because we have family members in here, we have loved ones in here, and we have to do everything to be partners so that they can be treated humanely. So that when they come back home, they can reintegrate into our communities. We're here in peace, but we're also here fighting for our loved ones. And the people that call our office all the time saying that they have problems with the system. And so I know that you guys are employed by the state. This is not your private prison. And so that means that you have to build the cards that you're building. And so hopefully you'll listen to the inmates and their families when they tell you problems, and you take it to heart so that they're able to feel that their loved ones are going to be taken care of. I know, Director, you said that there were some things that the family should know about some of the prisons, the things that you have going on. First of all, I think what you see is everybody who's stepped up here has assessment of the system issue. And so the Department of Corrections has to be a part of that system. And so we stand ready to do our part. And what we've learned is some of the same things that we've learned. We go into facilities, we wind up with there was one of the offender-centered initiatives that we had is to educate our staff the cornerstone principles of mental illness, how to address it, whether it's specific mental illness training, whether it is motivational things like that that will allow people to approach the situation with a little bit more delicacy and compassion. And so that's just one of the areas that we understand we need to tackle this problem within our system. And there are many more. It's just that sometimes you have to take them one at a time, and it takes time to work its way through a 13,000 employee culture, 40,000 plus from the system. And so we hear you loud and clear, representative, and as I said, inside now, as a partner, we stand ready to help and do our part to help send our folks back to the community, restore the community. So you're the director, you work with the director's office, and you are like over all of the people, all of the prisons. So I have several roles. The bottom line is they're all in some sort of statewide capacity. And so part of that is standing with, working with organizations in the community to identify people that some of those issues are, bring them back to the agency, and let us figure out, partners, work on, research how best to address it. And you're the warden of this book. And if you any more closing remarks from you?
No, I believe, like Mr. Hardy said, the issues have been received loud and clear. So I know a couple of guys have expressed some personal issues to me, so to make sure I get the names and different things about what's going on within our
Yeah, we got questions.
When the prisoners are being released, is there any kind of exit interview that you give them resources and explain to them their rights upon release?
Actually, we don't wait until we assess them properly for their needs. We classify them according to those needs, and we try to program according to those needs. About 6 months prior to release, we start working on contact, resource intervention, things that might help them successfully transition. We do that again from 6 months to 90 days to 30 days prior. Some of the problems I think we've already identified by the community resources that's in place, but we do make every effort we can to try to connect the resources we put in so that we can get them with a smooth transition. We are not under any illusion that that doesn't always work, but we try to match based on what we need.
Are they being told that they have the right to vote upon release in the state of Illinois?
Well, that's a statute, and I know that if something comes to us, we know the answer. As far as the statement made, don't forget you have the right to vote. I'm not sure it's done that way, but our clinical staff, we do work with our placement staff, we do work with the Metro and floor staff. I'm sure it's made it.
You got any question? I have a question about
Correct. And what I can tell you is that number has descended from roughly around the thousands. The same actions that the community has taken toward diverting low-level crime are some of the same things we need to take note of and do the same thing with our segregation, the things that can be handled in an alternative way, and we utilize those ways for those that are not.
Has there been any discussion of eliminating the process of solitary confinement altogether? Or getting that down from 3% even further?
There's always discussion on reducing that amount. We commonly talk about ways, and not just amongst us, but amongst within the population about what works and what doesn't work. As far as eliminating segregation altogether, that conversation does come up from time to time. But I think the reality is that there are some situations where it just can't be done.
So to that, yeah, I have a bill and we've been advocating to eliminate solitary confinement, and we've talked to the so I do have a bill to eliminate solitary confinement. We've been in negotiations with the department, doing everything we can to do that. But there are some concerns that I continue to hear from the director and the warden saying that sometimes they have to do some form of, not quite solitary confinement, but segregation. So I think that Lena.
I just have a quick question. As a case manager that deals with returning citizens, what real connection do you have to the organizations that do the work with the inmates once they come home? Because most of the inmates come home with really no stability. And when most of the families that they come home to have Section 8, and we know that no one who lives on subsidized housing can bring them into their house, what real plan, like State Rep says he's working on a bill, what real plan do they have when they look at the stats and the statistics as to what do they need and where they're returning to? Shelters? Are we looking into using some of that prison money to develop a temporary housing location that can trade them or wraparound services? What are we really looking at when we talk about the individual needs, the assessment? How deep does that go? As I say, as a case manager for 99% of this population at the Nonviolence Institute, resources are at a bare bone. There's no skin, no blood, no nothing. It's bone. So what, when you look at that, what does that look like?
The first thing it looks like is complex. What that means is it's going to take more than the Department of Corrections placement resource group to kind of sit down and talk about what that might look like. So what it looks like is we all need to sit down at the table because it's a complex issue that deserves more than just a one angle answer. And so while I don't want to sound evasive, I do want to sound like I said before, that we are ready to sit down and talk about those issues because it's a community entity, or maybe a contractual entity, or a state-sponsored entity, but either solution has to be vetted with all the stakeholders. So we can see the full way through.
I've got a couple of questions as far as segregation. They have, what's the maximum amount of time that they can be held in segregation? And then also, in some of the prisons in our opinion, they stopped using the word segregation and now they have administrative detention, which is basically the same thing. That's the first question. The second question is, as far as education, are they putting in process any education courses outside of GED? Because if they come in without a GED, they're mandated to get a GED. But if they come in with a high school diploma or a GED, are they offering like college courses or certifications or anything so they could reform viable citizens, contributing citizens when they come back out? Because if they're sitting in the cell for 23 hours and they only go out for yard and to child and to this, what is the point of them being here and you releasing them back into the society with no visible means of support, no skills, anything?
So you have two questions. So let me be careful. Depending on what
room currently in the court, there's 4 things I understand from being incarcerated that's very important. Homicide, and all the residential things like that. And mayor. As far as visitation and as far as the family, I would hope that you will look into the difficult, like for instance, how is it okay? And I'll talk to a real man, you know that relates to my brother, but this is a general thing that you can possibly look into. That you can identify me from an administrative level or from IA level that this is my brother while I'm incarcerated and allows family opportunity while we're in. But the moment I'm released, I can't even produce an ID or even my paperwork that shows that I'm the same person who you allowed to communicate with my brother back and forth. There has to be an opportunity for us to connect the families. There has to be a way to better do that security-wise that's acceptable to you, that allow me to come in once released from your custody, the same guy you're allowed to write his brother, and then check in and say, Warden, I'm on my way, I need to see my brother. And without having to go through all the loopholes and getting told back, because I've called the warden office a couple of times and never received any answer in that regard. That my brother has filed paperwork asking for me to be allowed to visit. And he has.
Let's get to that point. Is it legislative that we have to change that?
First of all, so to your 4 points before, I got 2 on automation and technology. And we're working on both. We understand the need and relevance for things like commissary service. We're currently in the process to automate those things to make it easier for all of the families to interact.
Is that possible?
So with regard to informing incarcerated coming back to the government, I can tell you, first of all, that we have these access fees being charged that come in every day and we have volunteers who are currently incarcerated that come in and interact with our population because we have to share that message of success. So to your point, I won't even say that's a universal issue because we have made exceptions on a contractual basis and a personal basis. Everything is case by case. So I would encourage you after this to meet with us and let's talk about that and see how we can make that.
All right. We really run out. We got to be back on the bus at 12 o'clock.
Can you just address the quick question about the voting rights of the prisoners currently, especially since we're going into
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So November 6th?
Prisoners in here, they can't vote. No one can vote in prisons. Is that correct? That's correct. And that's because of the state law. All right. And just so you know that we want to work on policy to change that so that people have the right to vote. That's one of the things that we advocate for also. Any more questions? Yes.
And we're at State Representative LaShawn Ford here at Stateville Penitentiary, and he's pushing for prison reform. I'm Naima Latif with the Media Connection. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
What about the voting rights once they return home?
So we want to make sure that it's clear that there are some things that they can do and they can't do, but I think what they can guarantee is to make sure that they're going to treat people in this prison humane. And so I have to do my job. Everyone out here has to do their job. The lobby has to do our job. Provide funding, put education back in the system. This prison, when I think about it, I hear everything people say, it just reminds me of the Chicago public school system.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's like, so the teachers are in a predicament, and you guys are in a predicament. So if we do better by our system, then people will do better. So thank you, Director, and thank you, Lord. And so anybody going to say something special for the, yes, fair.
Well, we are here on the streets of prisons with hundreds of men, right? I don't want to do that.
violence, let's give a man a job and a business. So we're going to stop violence, job, and business. All I got to say is, we just got to boycott the prison. Just don't go.
Just don't go. Just don't go.
Just don't go.
Just don't go.